Hey Christine, so let's check this out. What we have to do, we have to figure out some number to add to this so that we get a perfect square trinomial. And basically what we do, in general, a trinomial is some number times an x squared plus or minus some number times x plus or minus some constant term. And what we have to do is we have to add half of the b term squared. So half of the b term for us is going to be negative 4 over 9. We have to take half of that and then square it. So what that looks like for us, we're not going to do negative 4 over 9 divided by 2. That's ugly. I'm going to multiply by the inverse. Because remember, we can think of these things as fractions, and we never really divide two fractions. We change the sign to division, and we flip the second. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. 9 times 2 is 18. I'm going to reduce that, though. I'll just take a minute, put that in lowest terms. The half rule applies here because both of these are an even digit, so I can take half of 4, which is 2, half of 18, which is 9, and now I'm going to square it. To square a fraction, we just square the numerator and the denominator. So negative 2 times negative 2 is 4, and 9 times 9 is 81. So that's going to be the positive term. Now, I think you had a negative kicking around, but remember when we square a negative, we still get a positive because two negatives make a positive. So be aware of that. So here's our perfect square trinomial, x squared minus 4 over 9x plus our 4 over 81. Now, as a point of geekery, hopefully that helps you and answers your question. As a point of geekery, though, that if we were asked to factor that, and again, I admit it looks pretty intimidating, but what we do, because this is a perfect square trinomial, because the left term is a perfect square, and the right term is a perfect square, right? 4 is a perfect square, and 81 is as well. How we can think of this is we make a set of brackets, squared. I take the square root of the left term. The square root of x squared is x. I take the square root of the right term, so I just square root the top and bottom. Square root of 4 is 2. Square root of 81 is 9. And because I have a negative middle term, I just put a negative right there, and that's our answer. It's a perfect square trinomial factored right out. If this was a positive 4 over 9, that would be a positive. It just comes straight from there. So that's why it's kind of a useful thing. If we don't have to go down the road of factoring and pulling out an x and leaving it like that. We can just make it a perfect square trinomial and then take it down really nice and easy. So I hope that helps.